Hello everyone, welcome to Faewood Mead, or welcome back to Faewood Mead. My name is Mandy, or Faye, whichever's easier for you. So I have frozen fresh figs in here. They're actually from last year. Pear juice, just 1 quart, but it's gonna be fig, pear, and almond. Now how I add the almond might upset some people. I'm gonna tell you right now, I had spoken with someone who's become an apprentice brewer at a local meadery, and he had told me that he used almond paste, Amoretti almond paste, and that the flavor was like phenomenal, very marzipan-y. A lot of people get really nervous with the usage of nuts because you don't want to ferment on them, like directly on them with oil intact, because that oil can go rancid. So it's kind of a sensitive ingredient. And so once I got the Amoretti, I looked at it because I hadn't really paid very much attention. I was just like, yes, premium Amoretti paste, let's go. While I was thinking, is it primary or secondary? The ingredients in the Amoretti paste kind of answered that for me, because it's got a stabilizer in it. It's going in secondary. That's just part of this channel, okay? I experiment. I like working with different ingredients. I like seeing how things work together. And I want to try almond. I just want to try it out. So I'm going to dump this quart in. I am using D47 for this because D47 brings about nice floral esters. I'm just going to dump that in my water that is warmed up. I really hope this yeast, if this packet doesn't live, I'm going to try another one because it's been in the fridge for a hot minute. So we'll see if they wake up. I decided to use orange blossom honey. So I wrote down to just put about 1 pound of orange blossom in. In the past, I've definitely added like way too much. And then I end up with a really, really high ABV, which I don't want. I want to be able to like drink my mead. You know what I mean? Know what I mean? Make sure everything is sanitized, of course. Use Star San, it's amazing, it's the best. I actually don't have a full 4 pounds of figs in here, which is fine. I'm not gonna like worry about it because I do have dried figs. I've got some warm water. I do just use my tap water, but it's because my tap water is actually well water. Looks like these yeasties are still alive. Yeah, buddy, they're getting frothy. Okay, here is 1 pound of honey. Smells good. Okay. 4 quarts to a gallon. Guess that is a big thing of figs. Woo, just barely, baby. I think I did it right. Oh God, I'm nervous now. I'm gonna take a gravity reading. Only 1.040. Did I add enough? I guess some of it's also still solid. 5, yeah, it's only 5%. I mean, I guess if it were sparkling, that would be nice. I guess I should add a little bit more honey. I will add an extra 8 ounces. Oh my God, this is so full. 1.070, pretty good. Look at it. It's so full. Moment of truth. No, there's too much. Oh my God, no, because of the top. What do I do? I put too much liquid in it. I should have stopped. Why didn't I stop? It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. What do? We improvise, all right? I'm just gonna mix this up. Yeast has to get dispersed. I think this should be enough. Okay, see when it's done. Here we are. It has been 2 weeks. Now in cases like this where we have bags and things floating at the top, we don't want to leave them in for too long. Like unless you have something that can weigh them down to the bottom, you don't want to leave that just hanging out, because then you risk mold. Now if you remember, we've got this little bit here. I don't know, we'll see. I'm gonna take out this bag and I wanna combine both of these into a clean carboy. So I'm gonna rack both of them. In case you can't see what's happening over here, I'm kind of squeezing out juice a little bit. Don't want to disturb the bottom too much. So I'm gonna try to hover this. Sometimes you just forget to account for the amount of liquid given off by actual fruit. So in this case, I'd measured correctly as far as water. Oh no. Well, never mind on this one. There's a fruit fly in it. How that happened, I don't know. I don't know how that happened. It must have snuck in before I even put the cap on it. I'm not gonna fret too much because this thing is pretty full as it is. Okay, is this floating? Right around 1. Exactly 1.00. That is what I like to see. All right, stabilizing. Because I don't want this to accidentally re-ferment. Potassium sorbate, which is the stabilizer. Potassium metabisulfite, which is the preservative. I'm a knucklehead. I have to put almond paste. Almond paste, Amanda. Why did you not use an open mouth? Things that, you know, sometimes you just forget to think about. It's fine. It's fine. That's what I tell myself anyway. Okay, well, I'm gonna let this hang out and sterilize, and then I'm gonna stick it on some almonds. The time has come for the Amoretti almond paste. I'm gonna try this and see how like potent it is. I'm not gonna put this in a bag. I don't think I really need to. This is a pound. So I guess I'll try a half a pound and see how I feel about it. Which is a good amount of almond paste, but I want that flavor to come forward. Yeah, there's a lot of like puffies in here. I'm not gonna worry too much if I get some of that, because guaranteed I'm gonna end up with more lees. Or not lees, but sediment. That's what I should say. All right, here we are. We're on the almonds. I wanna wait to do anything else to this, like any form of balancing, adding dried figs, adding fresh pears, any of that. I wanna wait until I know that this has worked. I don't know, I'm gonna let it sit for probably 2 weeks-ish, and we'll see how it is. So, yesterday actually, I racked this mead, and I racked it to a small carboy neck, and then I was like, wait a second, I'm dumb. I still need to add dried figs and fresh pears to this. What in the world? So that's what we're doing today. The almond paste did impart quite a bit, actually. So for this recipe, I'm adding 1.5 pounds of fresh pears. Pears is one of the fruits that you don't want to freeze. I think that they get really weird and like super mushy if you freeze them. I think that's why. And I'm adding 4 ounces of figs. For my fig mead, I'd added a half pound. So this is a 1/4 pound basically. I'd added a half a pound, and it did give like a lot of flavor. And I don't want these flavors to completely overpower the almond paste. That stuff was a mess. Oh my gosh. Maybe I will go a little bit lighter on the figs because dried figs are such a powerful flavor. So I'm using a half a 1/4 pound, around abouts. For the pears, I'm still gonna use 1.5 pounds, just because like, they are such a light, delicate fruit. The flavor's okay on these, but they're kind of bland. Nothing to write home about. I think I'm gonna stop here. I'm not even gonna add 1.5 pounds. I'm not getting a whole lot of flavor from them, actually, which is disappointing. I'm gonna try to keep this as flavor balanced as possible. We might have to play around with this more, I don't know. And we'll just see how this does. Fingers crossed. So I've done some things to this mead. Let's talk about them. On the 24th, we added about 1 pound of fresh Bartlett pear. Now that pear, it wasn't fully ripe. The flavor was a little underdeveloped in those pears, and it reflected in the mead. So when I removed that bag on the 5th of August, I ended up adding 4 more pears, which came out to be about another pound's worth of pears. Now those were much riper. There was a little bit of browning, they were a little bit softer. They tasted way more pear-like, and that is something to keep in mind with your mead or fruit wine, whatever you're doing. You really want ripe fruit. On the 13th of August, I removed that bag, took a gravity reading, and all of that fruit, just the dried figs and the pears, brought this up to 1.026. I was somewhat surprised how sweet this was. And honestly, I was debating on whether or not I wanted to add more honey to this, but I tasted it a couple of times and there is, I don't know, there's sort of this lack of mouthfeel for me. I did add 1/8 of a teaspoon of wine tannin to help. Of course, there is acid present from the pears. So here I have about a 1/4 cup of honey orange blossom here that I am going to add, and I'm just gonna gently stir this up. You can really smell the almond. You know, I was worried about having like oil film at the top. I haven't really noticed anything. It smells so good. It smells like marzipan, like pears and marzipan. Everything is like shockingly well balanced, flavor-wise. I mean, there is a nice amount of acid and tannin present, I think. It's light. It's a very light mead. I think that's all the honey this needs. It's turned out really nice so far, actually. I'm very surprised. So it's been about 1.5 months now. We're into October. I was hoping that this would be perfectly clear, but it's not. So I am gonna rack this into a small vessel, and I would add a clearing agent, but I am going to be out of town for quite some time. And so I have no idea. It could clear out all by itself completely in that time frame. Because it's had a good amount of time to sit, I do want to taste it again. Here we are, 1/2 gallon's worth. I'm gonna try this. On the nose is very almond, like sweet almond, figgy marzipan. It's pretty good. I had myself a little midday drinky poo. That's very pleasant. I feel like all the flavors play together like really well. If anything is at all like kind of dominant, maybe it's the almond, but not by very much. Well, I'll see you here in a couple more months whenever I see you. And we're gonna bottle this. And here we are. It is tasting day. It's only been about a month. You know, typically I like to wait a couple of months. However, A, need the content. B, this bottle's only like half full, so I should probably drink it sooner than later. It smells delightful. Like, it smells like a dessert. It smells like a marzipan, but kind of delicately so, right? I mean, you can smell the figginess. You can smell the pear. Everyone's pretty well blended in the aromatics, except the almond steps up above everyone else, right? You just get this really delicious, sweet almond scent. The flavor's quite nice. I think it needs probably a little bit more time for the acids from the pears to settle in. I feel like every time, because I have tasted this fairly recently, and I feel like every time I taste it, it's already like a step above, you know? Which is wonderful. It's pretty clear, but there is like just the faintest haze. The thing with this mead is that for me, it doesn't quite have enough body. I don't think honey would boost the body necessarily. Maybe if I'd added a little bit more like dried figs. I think if I tried this again I would probably put the almonds in the nut bag, honestly, because they were so messy. I lost so much mead. It was just so much fluff. And then maybe I would put more dried figs, and I would put more pears, possibly even dried pear slices in to try to build up a little bit more body, because it is a little bit thin, it just seems so odd to me. I feel like it would be more, have a little bit more mouthfeel to it. You do get almond at the end. It's not as forward on the palate as it is on the nose. You know what I mean? Like in the aromatics, it is there. It's like, ooh, marzipan. But then on the palate, you get hit, I think, more with pear first. You get more of that acid pear fling. The fig kind of hangs out towards the middle, and then towards the end is the almond. But all the flavors do go together very well. Like, I think this is a really good flavor combination that I would play again with. I think maybe where it is flavor-wise and feeling-wise, it would be really good sparkling, actually. Like if I had a keg, you know, or like some way to force carbonate this, I think then it would be really good. I think that would suit this mead very well. As it is, it's just like a little bit, and I mean, who knows? A lot of people might like it kind of where it is in the consistency across the palate, but I'm more of a full-bodied, punch in the face flavor kind of gal. It's not very exciting, but it is easy to, it's easy to drink. It's good. I'll drink it, I'll share it, because I like it. I just wish there was a little bit more to it. So as far as this mead goes, I will put down below, you know, the usual. And yeah, I don't know. If you decide to make something like this, let me know. And let me know what you do, because I'm very interested. I really like it when people actually try making these meads, you know, and they give me some feedback on it. It's really cool. It's really cool. It's like, oh my God, someone made my mead. Very exciting. I am excited to experience this in a year though. Very, very curious on how this turns out. Well, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you all. Mwah! And I will see you next time. Bye.